You've seen them on the highway, those colossal big rigs, hauling tons of cargo across the country. And if you've ever been near one when it stops, you've probably heard that distinctive hiss, the sound of air brakes. It's a sound that signals immense power being brought safely to a halt. But have you ever truly stopped to wonder why these giants of the road rely on air, a seemingly ethereal substance, while your personal car uses a liquid? And how does that seemingly simple hiss bring thousands of pounds of metal and freight to a complete stop, time and time again? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and dive deep into the fascinating world of air brakes, exploring their ingenious design, their critical role in safety, and the surprising history behind them. To truly understand why big trucks use air brakes, we first need to take a significant trip back in time, all the way to the 19th century, to the very dawn of the railroad era. Imagine, if you can, a massive train, a marvel of engineering for its time, thundering down the tracks. How exactly did such a behemoth come to a stop? The answer might surprise and perhaps even alarm you. It was a terrifying and incredibly dangerous job for brave individuals known as brakemen. These men had to literally jump from car to car, often while the train was still moving at considerable speed, manually cranking a handbrake on each individual car. The conditions were brutal: rain, snow, ice, or blistering heat, and the risks were immense. Many brakemen lost limbs or even their lives in the line of duty. It was, by any measure, an incredibly inefficient and perilous system. Then, in 1869, a brilliant and prolific inventor named George Westinghouse stepped onto the scene. At just 22 years old, Westinghouse, who would go on to accumulate over 400 patents in his lifetime and even famously battle Thomas Edison in the War of Currents, had a groundbreaking idea. He realized that instead of relying on unreliable human power, a readily available and powerful force could be harnessed: compressed air. Westinghouse patented the first truly reliable air brake system for trains. His ingenious triple valve system was a game changer. Unlike earlier, simpler air brake designs, Westinghouse's system was revolutionary because it was automatic. This meant that if a train car accidentally decoupled, or if there was a leak in the airline, the brakes would automatically engage on both sections of the train, preventing a runaway disaster. This fail-safe design revolutionized railway safety, making those perilous brakeman jobs a past thing, and allowing trains to travel faster and carry more cargo with unprecedented security. Fast forward to the early 20th century, and as trucks grew larger, heavier, and began hauling multiple trailers, this proven, robust technology was adapted for the roads, becoming standard for heavy vehicles by the 1920s. So why air and not the hydraulic fluid your personal car uses? This is where the true genius of the air brake system for heavy vehicles really shines. It boils down to two critical factors: availability, and most importantly, inherent safety. Let's consider your car's hydraulic brakes for a moment. They work by using an incompressible fluid to transmit force from your brake pedal to the brake pads, which then squeeze against a rotor or drum. It's a highly effective system for lighter vehicles. However, if that hydraulic fluid leaks out, you lose your brakes entirely. Imagine that happening in a massive semi-truck weighing 80,000 pounds. It's a terrifying, catastrophic scenario. Now here's the brilliant counterpoint of air brakes. They're designed to be fail-safe. Think about it. Air is literally everywhere. Unlike a finite amount of hydraulic fluid, the supply of air is practically unlimited, constantly replenished by the truck's engine. But the real magic, the core safety feature, lies in how they operate. In an air brake system, compressed air is actually used to hold the brakes in the off position. Yes, you heard that correctly. Inside each wheel's brake chamber, there's a powerful spring, often referred to as a maxi spring. When there's no air pressure, that spring automatically pushes the brakes on. This is a fundamental difference. So, if there's a leak in the system, if the engine dies and the air compressor stops working, or if the driver simply pulls the parking brake, the brakes don't fail, they engage. This is why you often see parked trucks with their brakes locked, even without a driver in the cab. It's a built-in safety net, a fundamental principle of physics, ensuring that a loss of pressure means a guaranteed stop, not a runaway vehicle. This fail-safe mechanism is paramount for vehicles carrying such immense weight and momentum. Let's break down the main components of this incredible system and trace the journey of air from the atmosphere to the brake pads. It all starts with the air compressor, which is typically driven by the truck's engine. This compressor constantly draws in air from the atmosphere, compresses it, and then pumps it into several robust air reservoir tanks. Think of these as super strong, high-pressure storage cylinders for your braking power. A governor acts as the system's brain, monitoring the air pressure in the tanks and ensuring the compressor only runs when needed, maintaining the pressure within a safe operating range, usually between 100 and 125 psi. When the driver presses the brake pedal, they're not directly pushing brake pads, as in a car. Instead, they're operating a foot valve. This valve precisely controls the release of compressed air from the reservoir tanks, sending it through air lines to the brake chambers located at each wheel. Inside these brake chambers, the incoming air pressure pushes against a flexible diaphragm or a piston, which in turn moves a sturdy push rod. This push rod is connected to a component called a slack adjuster, which then rotates an S-cam, aptly named for its distinctive S shape. As the S-cam rotates, its unique profile pushes the brake shoes outwards, pressing them firmly against the inside surface of the brake drum. This contact creates immense friction, which ultimately slows the wheel and consequently the truck. When the driver releases the pedal, the air is vented from the brake chambers, that's your familiar hiss, and strong return springs pull the brake shoes back, releasing the brakes and allowing the wheel to spin freely again. Beyond the crucial fail-safe mechanism, air brakes offer several other practical and significant benefits for heavy vehicles. Consider the challenge of connecting and disconnecting trailers. With airlines, it's a relatively simple and clean process, much easier and more reliable than trying to manage high-pressure hydraulic lines without introducing air into the system or causing fluid leaks. This modularity is essential for the trucking industry. Furthermore, the sheer volume of air available means these systems can generate and sustain the immense braking force required for heavy loads, especially on long, steep downhill grades. In such scenarios, hydraulic systems in cars can suffer from brake fade due to overheating of the fluid. Air brakes, while also generating heat, are less susceptible to this specific type of failure and can be augmented with engine brakes or retarders for even greater control. It's also worth noting some of the nuances. While air brakes are incredibly powerful, there is a slight delay, often called brake lag, as the compressed air travels through long lines of a truck and its multiple trailers. Modern systems mitigate this with clever engineering, such as relay valves positioned closer to the brake chambers, which help to speed up the application and release of air. And speaking of air, compressed air naturally contains moisture. If this moisture isn't removed, it can freeze in cold weather, potentially blocking air lines and valves. This is why modern trucks are equipped with air dryers and often automatic drain valves on the air tanks to ensure the system remains dry and functional in all conditions. Given the critical role of air brakes, rigorous maintenance and daily checks are not just good practice, they are legally mandated and essential for safety. Truck drivers perform comprehensive pre-trip inspections every single day. These checks include listening for air leaks, a static leakage test, ensuring the low air warning signals, a buzzer and light that activate around 60 psi, and verifying that the emergency spring brakes engage correctly when air pressure drops to a critical level, typically between 20 and 45 psi. This is why you can't just hop into a parked semi-truck and drive away. You have to wait for the air compressor to build up sufficient pressure to cage or release those powerful spring brakes. So, the next time you see a big truck on the road, remember the ingenious system working tirelessly beneath its massive frame. From the terrifying manual process on early trains to the sophisticated fail-safe technology of today's semi-trucks, air brakes are an unsung hero of highway safety. They represent a triumph of engineering, ensuring that these giants of commerce can always come to a safe and controlled stop, protecting lives and livelihoods on our roads every single day. It's a testament to human ingenuity, transforming a simple concept into a vital component of modern transportation. Pretty cool, right?